OK, we've got some breaking news now. This is regarding the tribunal between the DP World Tour and LIV Golf, where there's been a verdict on the day that the Masters begin. We have Jamie Weir, who's live in Augusta for us, who's going to, of course, be covering all the golf action, but right now is bringing us news on this story. What's the outcome from this? What do you know, Jamie?
Yeah, Hayley, as you say yourself, extraordinary timing on the first day of the 2023 Masters. But the DP World Tour has won its legal battle against LIV Golf. Now, this doesn't mean that the DP World Tour can, quote unquote, ban LIV players, that they can strip them of their DP World Tour cards. What it does mean is that they can impose sanctions in the form of fines and suspensions against those players, which essentially does mean that for a lot of those players, and we're talking European stalwarts like Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, Martin Keimer, that they will be left with no choice really but to rescind their DP World Tour cards. This is what they've had to say. In summary, Sport Resolutions, who are the arbitration panel that were overseeing this decision, have decided that Keith Pelly, the DP World Tour's chief executive, acted entirely reasonably in refusing releases for those players. The relevant regulations are lawful and enforceable. The regulations cannot be said to go beyond what is necessary and proportionate to the DP World Tour's continued operation as a professional golf tour, that the sanctioned members committed serious breaches of the code of behaviour of the DP World Tour regulations by playing in LIV Golf events despite their release requests having been refused, and that all the players' challenges therefore failed. Their appeals are dismissed in their entirety, and the £100,000 fines originally imposed must now be paid within 30 days. This is what the DP World Tour have had to say themselves. Keith Pelly said that they welcome today's decision by Sport Resolutions that upholds their regulations and their ability to administer them. He says, "We are delighted that the panel recognised we have a responsibility to our full membership to do this, and also determined that the process we followed was fair and proportionate. It is, of course, regrettable that resources, both financial and staffing, which could have otherwise been deployed across our organisation, have been impacted by this lengthy arbitration process." So it is, as you said, extraordinary timing. We're less than an hour and a half away now from Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player and Tom Watson hitting the ceremonial first tee shots of the 87th Masters. But we have our decision nonetheless. And as I've just sort of alluded to in that statement from Keith Pelly, they'll be rejoicing in DP World Tour offices at Wentworth this morning because their decision has been vindicated. It is a hammer blow for LIV Golf. Their players now are essentially left with no route at all to significant world ranking points, with no pathway into the majors. Therefore, this ongoing legal case with the PGA Tour is going to take some time to resolve. But they were hoping that perhaps they would be able to continue playing on the DP World Tour and at least eke out some official world golf ranking points to try and stay in that top 50 of the world rankings and stay in the major tournament. That is not the case now. The only established tour that they can play on is the Asian Tour, where world ranking points are so negligible that they're going to find it impossible to climb the world rankings. So it is a hammer blow, as I said, for LIV Golf. It's a vindication for the DP World Tour, and in some ways it's a sad day as well, because stalwarts, as I said, such as Westwood, Poulter, Garcia, Keimer, McDowell, will no longer be seen on the European Tour, and that now means that their Ryder Cup involvement is at an end as well, whether in a playing or a captaining capacity. So a sad day in some ways, vindication for the DP World Tour, a hammer blow for LIV Golf.
It certainly is. Jamie, if you don't mind me asking, actually, just kind of want to ask about the timing of this and the fact that, I mean, not just the timing that you've had to get yourself up at probably 4 o'clock this morning with a very long few days ahead, that's for sure. And it's news that these golfers are going to be waking up to as well, who are going to have to be playing together. What about the timing for such a monumental celebration of golf, where it's supposed to be all, you know, excitement ahead of Augusta and the Masters?
Yeah, well, I am sure that Augusta National Chairman Fred Ridley isn't particularly pleased that this news has dropped today. I know, having spoken to him yesterday, that the DP World Tour Chief Executive Keith Pelly isn't particularly pleased that he's now going to have to spend the first day of the Masters doing extensive media interviews. And in fact, he's going to do them off-site today out of respect to the Masters. So from that point of view, it's not ideal, obviously, that the news has dropped today. All I would say is that Sport Resolutions are an independent body, and they were given the task of reaching this decision as soon as possible and releasing their verdict as soon as they had it. So it is an unfortunate coincidence that the first day that they are able to do that is the 6th of April, the day of the opening round of the 87th Masters. But they have reached their decision, and as you said, for some of those players, it will perhaps be seen as a distraction. For some of those players, that they might have a little spring in their step as they head out now onto that first tee at Augusta this afternoon. But for a lot of these players, there might have been some of them who were gambling perhaps in the DP World Tour, losing this case, and then continuing to be able to play both LIV Golf and the DP World Tour. Perhaps still hope that their Ryder Cup hopes were intact up until this point. Luke Donald has been quite cagey and kind of suggested that LIV players were still eligible for the Ryder Cup. I think we can definitively say now that they will not have any involvement in Rome this year or in any Ryder Cup going forward. And that's more of a blow, really, from a captaining point of view as well. When you look at Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, Martin Keimer, Sergio Garcia, Graham McDowell, you had a pipeline there of future captains. And where's that captaincy going to go now? That all remains to be seen. But as I said, there is no doubt at all that in the offices of the DP World Tour at Wentworth this morning, they will be rejoicing.